Hello and welcome to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition we're going to be reviewing holster options for the Polymer 80C version 2. The Polymer 80 version 2, in this particular case it's going to be a compact version, is the next generation of the Polymer 80 pistol. We'll put a link down below to our original video on the Polymer 80, and specifically in this video we're going to talk about holster options. The version 2 is different both physically and dimensionally from the original version, version 1. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to test it in the same holsters that we did in our first video to show you how the version 2 works and or doesn't work. You can see here we have the UM84 M12 holster. In our previous video with the version 1, the Polymer 80 version 1 fit in here just fine. And just about any pistol will fit in this holster, which makes it a great universal holster, as the name implies. When you get a new firearm and you need a holster until you find the right one, this is always a good place to start. And as you can see here, the Polymer 80 version 2 fits just fine. It's a good holster for this pistol. As you can see, the UM84 holster and the Polymer 80 version 2 are pretty compatible. No effect on how the holster interacts with the pistol, as you can see. Very easy to withdraw and place back into the holster when necessary. The next holster we're testing is the Blackhawk EPOCH light bearing holster. This one right now has the version 1 Polymer 80 in it, and it is equipped with a TLR1 light, which this holster is configured for. And as you can see, it fits just fine. No issue getting the handgun out of the holster. And please check out the link below. This is a holster I used at Desert Brutality 2018, and it served me well, and it was a great holster pistol combination. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and use the Blackhawk EPOCH holster with the version 2 Polymer 80 pistol. This is the compact version, or the Glock 19 size instead of the full-sized, but that should have no effect. We do have the TLR1 light mounted, the same one we just showed you earlier in the video, so let's go ahead and put it together. And yeah, that's what happens. It doesn't go all the way in. It gets progressively harder and it won't lock in. So somewhere there's a dimensional change between the version 2 and the version 1. As you saw earlier, the version 1 worked with this holster no problem whatsoever. Version 2, not so much. So I would not recommend this as an option if you're doing version 2 Polymer 80. Our last holster to test in this video today is the Serpa holster. Now, this is a Glock 21 holster. If you recall from my first video, that Polymer 80 Gen 1s fit in Serpa holsters, but not for the size that they're indicated. So you've built a Polymer 80 in 9mm or 40, and a Glock 17 or 22 holster will not fit it. But a Glock 21 will. It is snug, but that's not exactly the worst thing in the world. But it does work, as you can see here. Hit the device, pull the pistol out, it works. Holster back up, it works. Here we go, showing that the version 1 Polymer 80 works with the Glock 21 Serpa holster. With the Polymer 80 Gen 2, the story is almost the same. Glock 21 holster, locks right in. Actually a little less tight than the original, which makes for a smoother thing. And then you withdraw it. You can't get it out. This is a big problem. You cannot use the Glock 21 holster with the version 2 Polymer 80s. I'm going to get the pistol out of here and show you exactly why. Okay, we just demonstrated that the Gen 1 Polymer 80 worked just fine in a Glock 21 Serpa holster, but the Gen 2 Polymer 80 did not. It seems strange. The Gen 2 pistol has slightly different dimensions, but that means in the Glock 21 holster, it's not as tight as the version 1 Polymer 80. So why would it be the situation where once you put that in the holster, you can't get it out? And it comes down to how the pistol's designed. Specifically, angles on the frame. This angle right here is the culprit. And it's the reason I have the pistol staged like this, sitting on top of the holster, as it would look inside the holster. Because this angle right here, when you're pulling up, you get about that far and it stops. And the reason for that is simple. Right there. A Serpa system works because this part of the latch has a nub on it that's engaging this part of the trigger guard. That's what keeps your pistol retained inside the Serpa holster. When you deactivate a Serpa, you press in on this latch. So what you're doing in essence is releasing the part that's engaging the front of the trigger guard here, but this part's going down inside the holster and hitting this part of the frame right here where there's a ridge right where I'm running my finger. We'll get a close-up of that so you can see that ridge in more detail. Here's a close-up of that ridge. It's not very thick. You can feel it, and it comes up to form this part of the dust cover. That is enough though to catch right here on the bottom of the release lever. So the harder you push in, the more the pistol's not going to come out of the holster. To get this pistol out of this holster was kind of tricky. It's nothing that you can train around. It's just because of that ridge on the Polymer 80 frame, you're always going to have the problem with the Serpa holster. To get the gun out, what I had to do was press in slightly, just enough to get this part to release the trigger guard, at the same time pushing the gun against the back of the holster to create just enough clearance for it to get out. Obviously this makes this unusable as a holster for the Polymer 80 version 2. So we've retested the holsters on the version 2 Polymer 80 frame. These were the same holsters we used on the version 1, and we got some very different results. As predicted, the UM84 performed its universal self, held both pistols just fine. The EPOCH light bearing holster was a real surprise that it would not take the version 2 pistol because the locking system is based around the light for the most part, not the gun itself. So that was a bit of a surprise. But if you can't get the gun in the holster, it's obviously not going to retain it. The biggest surprise of all was that the Glock 21 Serpa holster actually would not work with the version 2 Polymer 80 because, as you've seen previous in the video, it works pretty good. It's a good combination. However, the cuts on the frame that are basically, I think, for aesthetic purposes and nothing else, interfere with the locking and release system of the Serpa, thereby making it a one-way holster. You put the gun in, it doesn't come out. We hope you found this edition of Pegasus Test helpful and informative. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and tune in for future Polymer 80 handgun tests.